jolly, upbeat person, you're watching True Heel Heat.
Hello, this is RJ City, and I am ethically opposed to any more wrestling podcasts. I don't know why you guys are talking about wrestling. It is a niche product. It is a very small industry. Yet, at this point, there's more wrestling podcasts than there are wrestlers. There is something wrong with society as a whole, but as you get smaller and smaller into wrestling, and then the wrestling podcast sphere, it gets even worse. And one such example, if I may turn on the microscope and look at the drudgery that happens to be True Heel Heat. SP3, Sid, this is your fault.
Hi, I'm the ballsy badass Shotzi Blackheart, and you're watching True Heel Heat.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3, and we are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our NJPW King of Pro Wrestling 2025 review. And the Alpha has now taken his throne at the top of the IWGP, at the top of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Konosuke Takeshita is your new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and we're going to discuss all about it. And of course, to do that, I am joined by my esteemed colleague. He is the MC of the past, present, and future of New Japan Pro Wrestling here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. He is your favorite and everyone else's. J News, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, brother. Doing all right. I came into King of Pro Wrestling with more or less middling expectations, and I walked out of the show with a smile from ear to ear. Not just because of what happened in the paper in the main event, but the whole show overall impressed me from beginning to end. And I must say, if they stick with this formula for their bigger shows, I mean, having a top grade IWGP women's match, maybe at the beginning of the show, giving it some length, especially with how popular the women are right now in Japan, more popular than the men are. Let's be realistic. Hey, man, I'm being real. Giving them a shot to open the show, letting them go at anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes, them starting off the show hot. It gives everyone else in that locker room something to follow up, because those girls always go all out all the time. And no one on the show, and I repeat, no one on the show disappointed. So that regardless of the fact of the outcome, I don't think anybody disappointed in ring wise. So yeah.
Okay, all right. So I already know we're gonna have a difference of opinion, because I know there was one match on this show that was absolute basuda. It was trash. Oh my god! And it was the match that I think we all expected to be trash. It was trash.
For all intents and purposes, let's start there. It wasn't great, but it was better than what
it was awful. It was better than what you thought it was. You thought it was gonna be -5 stars? It was -4 stars. Wow. Oh, great job.
Listen, man, I wasn't interested, but at the end of the day, Evil and Bolton were not going to set the world on fire. But I thought that it went better than I thought it went better than with them two just in the ring. It went okay. With the chicanery and the shenanigans, which we all know is going to be involved, that stuff you just get tired of at the end of the day. But I thought it was okay with them, with just them two. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, I'm not saying it was great. I'm just saying it was okay.
We appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all for watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back. The simplest way possible is by dropping a thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, you could sound off in the comment section if you're watching us on demand. You could sound off in the live chat if you're with us live. We'd love to interact with all of you guys. Hear your thoughts on NJPW's King of Pro Wrestling 2025 event and the big title change in the main event, and any of the other title changes or big matches on this show you want to discuss. You can talk about it in the live chat. We'll try to highlight as many of your comments as possible. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you can send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to contributors that you see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate your support. We already got in the chat with us today one of our members of the channel, I May Beat, who probably this is like Walker Stewart's like best call, like bit, or continuous call that he does during Takeshita matches. Straight murder.
He's got to have a catchphrase, man. You know what I'm saying? It's got to catch on somewhere, man. But props to all the work that Walker's doing behind the scenes for Bushi Road and the people over there, between New Japan and Stardom and stuff like that, man. I think that especially with what now seems to be 2 weeks in a row, hopefully it's the third week in a row of a free Stardom event on Thursdays, giving them more exposure, obviously, and things of that nature, and promoting it online and whatnot, might get more of the international fans outside of Japan flocking towards Stardom as well. So hey, man, some of the little stuff works, and so props to Walker on helping with that.
Yes, very well done by Walker, kind of building the bridge, better bridge between Stardom and NJPW. We got I made beats who also asked, did RJ City just bury SP3? Yes, that is the drop that we got from our good friend RJ City. Shout outs to him. We got I made beats who also says it was so hard hitting. Walker is awesome. Walker had a great call in the show, and Chris Charlton. Only criticism that I have is that they really tried to sell us on Ryogoku booing Takeshita, and it
They
didn't
tried.
happen.
They really tried. It was a good half and half. Don't get me wrong, but the boos weren't as loud as they were in freaking where were they last? Even Kurikan at times or whatever the case is. So it was really 50-50 at Ryogoku and stuff like that. So
yeah. We got Renit in the chat who says, don't know about Don Callis family, but AEW roster waiting for Karrion Kross, Scarlett, Cedric Alexander, AEW pay-per-view this week. I wouldn't hold my breath in regards to Kross and Scarlett.
Yeah. The third one, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I think I talked about this last time I was on True Heel Heat, where a lot of TNA contracts are expiring after Bound for Glory. So depending as to what happens there, I haven't heard any news about anybody re-signing per se. Cedric Alexander is definitely a option, especially with what the storyline they're going with MVP, sort of. So I dig it, but nothing against Kross and Scarlett. I'm a big fan. Kev's the man, Scarlett's the man, but the AEW is not necessarily their playground unless they're gonna shift things around a little bit.
Yeah, and they've even went on record and said they wouldn't want to go to AEW right now because they're talking so much about WWE. They want to be back in WWE. They think they should have never left WWE, so they know it's not the right time for them to go to anywhere else.
Yeah.
So that's what I said. Don't hold your breath on that. I understand, being hopeful as a fan, but just don't kill yourself. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Temper those.
Yes, exactly. We got Dustin who says, I like chaos. So Okada and Takeshita tag champs. That does make things interesting. I think we should talk about that now instead of at the end. Like with Takeshita being IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, with Okada being the AEW Unified Champion, they're getting a shot at the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Brodito, on Saturday. Who's taking the loss here? If they're not winning the tag team titles, who's taking the loss? I think it would make more sense if it's Okada. You have like Bandito pin Okada to set up a unified title matchup, but who knows with AEW with Tony Khan?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure with how this goes down on Saturday per se, but they can always shift the way that the finish goes without anybody having to get pinned and Brodito just retaining at the end of the day. So that can be an option that they go with. And obviously, with Takeshita showing up with the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship in Okada's face, that's going to set up an alarm. You know what I'm saying? So I just want more of that interaction per se. But I'm sure the tag match will go off and they'll have a great one and stuff like that. But we'll see. But I'm leaning more towards Brodito retaining, but without necessarily having to get a pin over either guy right now. That's where I'm at. Yeah.
We shall see. We shall see what happens on Saturday. We're going to have our AEW Wrestle Dream preview on Friday, so join us live for that. Are you joining us for that, J News?
I will be joining you guys for that.
There you go. Me, Maggie, and J News on Friday breaking down that card. But we're going to talk about King of Pro Wrestling here. I agree with a lot of what you said. I think that this was one of the best shows from New Japan of the year. And I think top to bottom, it was probably their most consistent show of the year. I would say I think it's like with, we talked about it when we were reviewing Crown Jewel. I think like with WWE, it's like 3 shows that are in the running for best show of the year for them, with Evolution, Crown Jewel, and Elimination Chamber. With AEW, I think it's a 2-horse race between All In and Double or Nothing. And then with New Japan, I think it's now this show and New Beginning.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout. That's not a bad shout at all. Speaking of New Beginning, we got some news on New Beginning coming to the US next year,
Yes.
in 2026. So that's a big shout for New Japan there, trying something different. There, having their mainline shows coming to the US instead of just doing those, New Japan Strong shows. I always thought that would have been the thing that they were going to do.
I think they're still going to do a New Beginning in Japan, though.
They should. I mean, they always do two mainline city shows, right? One could usually Osaka or Sapporo or whatever. So depending on what they want to do, so they'll have a New Beginning show. Maybe they can split the roster and stuff like that, because people want to see the New Japan stars in the US. No knock to anybody who does the New Japan and the USA shows, but it's like, the folks want to see the Japanese stars here. So I think there's a correlation between the drop in attendance in the shows and not having enough New Japan stars on the US shows. So there's that of it as well. So looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, we shall see what they do there. But let's talk about King of Pro Wrestling. J News, as we do with all of our pay-per-view reviews, what is your one word, one phrase to give your overall thoughts on this past Monday show from Ryogoku?
The phrase is, for me, I would say it's the rise of the alpha. Right? For all intents and purposes, we all knew, or at least I did, figured this was going to be the outcome. But the match showed out as it should have. And his goal is to put that championship on a pedestal and to have the best matches across the board that he can. And I also believe that he's going to bring the international to the International Grand Prix Championship. So he'll be defending that thing all over the world, which is a good thing, on top of the fact that he's signed to 3 different companies, right? So we'll see defenses of that championship not only in New Japan but also in AEW, and maybe him and Umino were having a conversation yesterday. Maybe a defense on DDT. Who knows? But
that would be interesting. I will say that would be interesting.
So we'll see how that breaks down. But man, the rise of the alpha, man. He's been on this trajectory since he joined AEW. Like that first match he had with Hanger, I was like, oh, who is this?
Everybody was impressed. Not even the first match with Hanger. I remember the first match with Jay Lethal.
That's true.
Lethal before Hangman. No, that was on Rampage. That was an episode of Rampage. He versus Lethal, and I was like, who's this guy? He's actually pretty good. And then the match with Hangman is where more people got to see him, and that's when everybody was like, whoa, who is this guy? Like, this guy is really good. And then, like you said, even before all of that, there was those dark matches when they were in Jacksonville in Daly's place, and him teaming up with Kenny Omega. So he's always had this potential, but it's been amazing to kind of watch it kind of flourish and kind of mature before our eyes. Like where he was when he first started in AEW to where he is now, he's completely different worker than he was previously. Like he's a lot more intense. He's a lot more hard hitting. He's got his pacing down. His footwork is on the level of Okada. And we saw that in the Mascara Dorada 3-way at All Out. So I mean, this is kind of like the crown achievement. This was like him reaching the mountaintop.
Yeah, this is his pinnacle. Excuse me, guys. This is his pinnacle. He's always wanted this as a kid, and he wanted to represent the IWGP in New Japan. But they rejected him, and he ended up, carving out his own path and going his own way, and now he's here, man. He's on top. You know what I'm saying? He's the best wrestler on the planet right now, and he has a championship to go with it. So at the end of the day, I think that this is a good sign, no matter what certain fans feel about, booking decisions and things of that nature, and, being a New Japan lifer and all this other stuff or whatever. Like, nah, man, you need the best of the best at the top of your company, and he's it. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk about it as we go through the matches on the show. Glad to have Goto back and things of that nature. That's coming up at the end of the day. So I think Takeshita being on top is not a bad thing. This was for me it was expected, but at the end of the day, watching the match and seeing him go through the paces and just how him and ZSJ broke everything down, it was good stuff, man. It was good shit. It was good shit.
Magic. It was magic in that main event, and I definitely can't wait to talk about it with you. My word or phrase, it would be back to form. I feel like New Japan took a significant dip at Dominion. Dominion was a show that kind of signaled a downturn for New Japan. Like the G1 was not very successful. There was a lot of good in the G1, but I think it was weighed down by whatever bad or negativity, any toxicity that there was in like the fan base based on the big push that they decided to give to House of Torture, and how much House of Torture were a part and present and prominent throughout the G1, I think affected how fans viewed it. And then, Destruction was pretty good, but you couldn't get the vibes back. You needed a show like this to get some New Japan vibes back, and it's the best time of the year. There is some stuff that I am going to be kind of critical of, like, King of Pro Wrestling is usually the kind of the real, to me, it's really the real start of the build.
I'm not sure if I froze. I'm not sure if SP3 froze.
Yes. You're
I
frozen.
feel like
you're
I'm
frozen.
Still
You're
locked.
frozen. You're frozen.
I'm frozen. Okay.
I love how he's just gonna talk. He's like, you should probably like restart. You should restart because you're like blurry and stuff. Maybe.
That's fine.
I don't know if that helps.
Right.
I love you. He was just gonna talk over me. He was like, I don't know if it's me. I don't know. But yes, I think like King of Pro Wrestling is usually a start to the build of Wrestle Kingdom. So the fact that we're going into kind of like that season where they build up and they're announcing the major matches for Wrestle Kingdom, we don't know what the Wrestle Kingdom main event is going to be. Like, Wrestle Kingdom has basically already sold itself. So I understand if New Japan is going to the theory of, oh, we don't need to announce the main event right now because it's already halfway sold out. And that's just off of Tanahashi retiring and the Aaron Wolf debut. But I would have liked some indication of which direction we're going in on this show, like we did last year. Last year, we got, Shingo coming out to challenge Zack as the first challenger after he won the title. And then we also got Shota Umino to basically signal he's going to be next after the Shingo and Zack matchup. We don't know who's next for sure after Takeshita and Goto, but we have got some hints, which we'll talk about. So that's my real big nitpick to the show, is that they didn't let us know what the main event of Wrestle Kingdom is going to be.
To use a term, I think they have a few balls in the air right now. So they haven't necessarily locked down whatever they're going to do for Wrestle Kingdom. I think they're going through their options, and they'll lock it down by next event. I have a feeling they'll do that, but right now I feel like they're not completely committed to whatever they have on the board as of right now.
Yeah, that's what it seems like, and I'm kind of worried about.
Yeah, I hear you.
But yes, let's talk about the show. And man, talk about, like, I think like we can go through the debate maybe in like a month when we're like previewing one of the tournaments, like that's a Super Junior Tag League or a World Tag League. Like, what are the options, the big candidates for the best match of the year from New Japan Pro Wrestling? And of course, we'll do our list and stuff at the end of the year. And we'll have candidates that are like the best main events of a New Japan show this year. I don't think there's an option other than this one for the best opener of the year from New Japan Pro Wrestling. As you had Syuri going one-on-one with Sareee in a rematch for the IWGP Women's Championship. One of the 5-star rated matches from Stardom this year was Sareee winning the IWGP Women's Championship from Syuri back earlier this summer. This was the rematch, first time for Sareee in a NJPW ring. And boy, oh boy, these women, they had this epic 5-star matchup earlier this year that went 30 minutes plus. It was epic, and it was just, it was a war of attrition. And they were able to get the essence of that matchup in half the time. This was just all thriller, no filler, hard-hitting slaps, high-impact moves. Those Joshi drops on the head are just vicious. They're like 1990s All Japan bumps where you're just dropping people on their head. Sareee doing the freaking Uranagi and just dropping Sareee over and over, dropping Syuri over and over on her head repeatedly towards the end of this matchup, and Syuri just kicking out to a bigger and bigger pop from the Ryogoku crowd. This is the type of energy that you never really see during a New Japan Pro Wrestling opener. This had intensity. This had some drama throughout because you really didn't know who was going to win this one. When Sareee was hitting all those Uranagis, you're like, if she does the arm trap Uranagi, it's a wrap. But when she was going for that, Syuri was able to block it. She starts bombarding her with the big strikes, the buzzsaw kicks. Finally, she puts her up on her shoulders. She hits the Shore Sake 1, 2, 3. Syuri is the first ever 2-time IWGP Women's Champion, and an absolute banger to kick off this show. Ryogoku brought it. They brought the energy for this matchup, but these two ladies, hats off to both of them because they left it all in the ring, less than 15 minutes, and this is as good as any other matchup really on this show. I give it 4.5 stars. This was absolutely tremendous to kick off the show.
Yeah, I don't have anything much else to say. Those ladies started that show in a way that usually doesn't happen, like you said. They got Ryogoku buzzing, and Ryogoku didn't let off the buzz for the rest of the show, to be quite honest. So props to those ladies for making that crowd buzz. There are times when I'm sitting and watching matches and I say to myself, man, that was a hard hit. Like usually when Takeshita does the discus forearm and stuff like that, like you hear that one pop and stuff like that. Back in the day when Shibata still had his brain and he used to headbutt people that hard, bruh, the forearm Sareee hit Syuri with, I was like, why? But why are you hitting her so hard?
the crack of the headbutts?
Dude, man.
The crack of the headbutts, the double headbutt spot where they do the double down and you just hear the smack, and then they just double down. That's a great spot right there.
I was like, yo, but what's the necessity behind all this? Like, you see what's going on in the world with all these other older professional wrestlers not being able to walk and the CTE and everything else in between. Like, take a step back, ladies. Like, y'all are good, but damn, you know what I'm saying? But like, it just lent to it. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Joshi wrestling right now is on a high I've never seen it on, outside of the 80s and early 90s flair, right? Because that stuff is in a world by itself at the end of the day. But right now they're on a high that I haven't seen them in a while, and these two ladies are at the top of that game. Outside of Saya-sama, we all know the Phoenix Queen, she's doing the damn thing. But these two ladies right here. Sareee has definitely turned her career around based on what happened with her and the experiment over at NXT. I've seen more of Syuri in the last year and a half than the majority of her career, because she's had a long career in Japanese women's wrestling and stuff like that. And I've become quite the fan. And to know that I can see these ladies in a vital spot on the card, because when you open a show, that's a vital spot. You're definitely lending the crowd whatever energy. You're setting the bar for everybody in the back, and that's why I said during our opening that they set the tone. And it's like, yo, if these dudes can't bring what we brought for the rest of the show, like just lay up and die. And the dudes decided, for the most part, they decided, hey, we gonna rock with what these ladies is doing, and we gonna put in our own spice, and
we're gonna follow suit.
They followed suit, man. So shouts to these two ladies. I want to watch everything they do for the rest of the year. So I have doubled down, even though I got rid of a lot of subscriptions this year and things of that nature. I got my Wrestle Universe subscription back. And I'll be doing the Stardom thing there and watching all the other women's Joshi stuff.
Stardom on Wrestle Universe?
Not anymore. The Stardom stuff I can get separately. So that's I'm not paying Bushiroad twice, man. I ain't man.
I understand, man. You gotta spread the wealth, man.
Paying Bushiroad twice. But definitely gotta be paying attention to what else Saree's gonna be doing. She has one of her Sareeism shows coming up soon. Obviously Syuri's gonna be doing
this is probably the most I've seen of Sareee probably ever, like even in her time in NXT, because she wasn't featured that much. I think I've watched a lot because I've seen all 3 of the Syuri matches, even the one that was at Sareeism, which was great as well. Yeah. I would say out of the 3 matches this year, I say their one at Stardom Conversion is the best one. It's one of the best matches of the year, period, and definitely one of the best women's matches that I've seen this year. Probably right behind the Saya Kamitani versus Tam Nakano All-Star Grand Queen main event for the best match in Stardom. But then I would put this match. This match would be second for me because this was just, I wasn't expecting them to get to that level of in-ring work that they have been known for in their previous 2 matches this year, but they were able to do it, and New Japan gave them 15 minutes to do it. That's why.
Yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, like them getting the 15 minutes is one, and then secondarily, like, they understand it's either all balls to the wall because we don't get the 25 to 30 minutes to build, or we don't do anything at all. And they went balls to the wall for sure during that match. I just want to see more of them, man. And hopefully we, for us being here in the U.S., hopefully we get to see more of Sareee here on this side. Maybe maybe a Syuri appearance during this whole women's tag team tournament thing that AEW is coming up with.
I think we're gonna get Syuri back in. I think that's one of the reasons why she won the IWGP Women's Championship. I think that whoever's holding it is gonna make a couple of appearances in ROH and AEW in before the end of the year, heading into the Tokyo Dome. I don't know if they'll be part of Tokyo Dome, considering that Saya Kamitani has announced that she's going to be part of Tokyo Dome, and New Japan is very unlikely to do 2 women's matches on the show unless it is Syuri versus Saya Kamitani, which sign me up for that. I wouldn't mind that either, but I think that's a little too much if you plan on giving a 3rd title to Saya Kamitani, unless you're building like a Tokyo Dome Stardom show next April for Saya versus Mercedes for all the belts.
Hey, it's not necessarily out of the realm of comprehension, if we're being completely honest. So, especially with the popularity, like I said, the popularity of the ladies in Stardom and everything else in between. Yeah, man, they have places where they can work with it, especially with the ladies. So, to your point about Syuri winning the belt here, winning the IWGP Women's Championship, she might make more appearances on the US side, be it with AEW or ROH and things of that nature. She also has a legit tag team with Hikaru Shida, so she might be part of that women's tag team tournament. That's why I brought that up. And on top of everything else, it's supposed to be the International Wrestling Grand Prix, so she has to be traveling. I think the only travel that Syuri did during her first reign as champion was to the UK when she faced off with Alice Windsor. So
she only had 1 defense.
Yeah, because the injury and everything else in between. So, yeah, and that was a banger match too. So, shouts to Alex Windsor. So at the end of the day, there's that. And yeah, so yeah, just banger match, man. Props to the ladies. I want to see more of this on the mainline New Japan pay-per-view shows. If you're gonna start off with the ladies, give me this type of stuff, give me this type of energy, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely agree with you there. We got a super chat donation from our boy Vala. Thank you so much for the support. He says, this to me has been New Japan's show of the year. Yano, Booker of the year. Don't read that too seriously. He says, and he states, I loved New Beginning, but this just felt to me. He said, like New Japan trying to regain a semblance of control of themselves. We got, that's a good point. I think that New Beginning has the edge for me because that felt like New Japan at its peak in 2025. Yeah. If you think that this is them regaining some type of semblance of control, or me saying that it's them going back to form, the form is New Beginning.
New Beginning.
Yeah.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
I think that I could probably make the argument for this being the show of the year, but I think that New Beginning has it because of the two. It's the Goto title change, and it's that Kid versus Tsuji matchup. Like the Kid Tsuji matchup on this show is fantastic, but it's the energy and the environment, the atmosphere for that first one, that New Beginning, it's different. It's just different.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
Well, let's talk about the second match on the card here. Multi-man action, your favorite. As you have David Finlay, Clark Connors, Taiji Ishimori of the Bullet Club War Dogs facing Shingo Takagi, Titan, and Hiromu Takahashi of Unaffiliated. This was such a fun 8-minute match. Like, they just went out here. You got Titan flying around. You got Hiromu bringing his frenetic energy in this one. Shingo having some hard-hitting exchanges with David Finlay, as well as with Clark Connors. Clark bringing his crazy energy as well. Titan was really kind of like the star of this matchup. Like, he's flying around, looking great, looking crisp in the ring. In the end, though, he is the victim of the overkill from David Finlay as the Bullet Club War Dogs pick up this trio's victory over Unaffiliated, but it would not be the last time we would see these members of these two factions who have been basically in a little bit of a kind of a competitive rivalry over the last couple of months during the Destruction Tour into the King of Pro Wrestling Tour here. And we would find some type of conclusion by the end of the night, but we'll have more on that later. Like I said, I thought this was really good. I gave it 3 3/4 stars. What did you think?
It was fun as hell, man. I did not expect that from all 6 of those guys, and they picked up that energy after that women's starting match, man. You know what I'm saying? They had to bring the sauce, and they brought the sauce, man, and they cooked with it at the end of the day. So shouts to them. Always love to see El Immortal Titan wrestle with his homies from the unaffiliated at this point, right? It's no longer LIJ. They got hats though. They got merch. The unaffiliated dudes got merch.
Unaffiliated merch. I'm getting my unaffiliated merch, even though they're kind of affiliated after the show. But
sort of, kind of, right? Yeah. Sort of, kind of. Yeah, man. It was a fun match. I think I'm gonna leave it towards the end of the year to come to a conclusion about something with a specific professional wrestler, and I choose, and I have the right to change my mind about certain things in the world. So I'm going to leave it till the end of the year to see as to how I feel, and we'll go from there. But fun match, man. Fun match with everybody involved. It's always, now that we know we're stepping into Junior Tag League and stuff like that, obviously we're not going to see a lot of the heavyweights participate in any of that, so it'll be interesting to see as to where some of those guys pop up in the coming few weeks. So we'll see how it goes, but it's definitely a fun ass match, man. I was having so much fun with the show, and we were only about half an hour in at this point, and I was like, man, if they keep this pace up, this show is going to be show of the year. So yeah, man.
You know what this card felt like? It was like an AEW pay-per-view.
Yes, it was.
It was very much like I just realized it as we're like talking about it. I'm like, you got the first match is this woman's hard-hitting banger. Then the next match is this just fun party 6-man tag that's 8 minutes, all thriller, no filler. And then you got some bloody hardcore matchup. This is an AEW pay-per-view. This is the smorgasbord that AEW pay-per-views gives you and New Japan gave you on this show as we go into Drilla Maloney going up against Sanada. This one promised to be a violent matchup as it was a Riot in Ryogoku matchup. This was supposed to be a special singles match. It got changed to a Riot in Ryogoku match after Sanada hit another guitar shot and bloody Drilla on the tour on the way to King of Pro Wrestling. So this match just turned up right from the start. You get steel chairs being used. We got copious use of a fork bloodying Sanada at one point. You get another guitar shot to Drilla Maloney that busts him open. This fight goes into the crowd area. You got Drilla going through a table. You got use from the House of Torture getting involved. These two men just went out there and just beat the hell out of each other. A bloody mess. I don't think I've ever seen Sanada with this type of crimson mass with blood kind of on his chest to the point that he's bleeding all over the place. Both men losing a lot of blood in this one. Like I said, the House of Torture would get involved. Dick Togo, Yoshinobu Kanemaru. This brought out Clark Connors to back up his former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champion partner, and he brings out his tag team partner, Wilson, to take out the House of Torture members. This leaves Drilla in the ring with Sanada. He brings out a guitar, and he finally gets revenge for that guitar shot, that signal Sanada leaving the War Dogs all those months ago, and then he delivers a second Drilla killer for the 1-2-3. Drilla Maloney getting a measure of revenge on Sanada here in a brutal and bloody brawl. I gave this one 3.5 stars. Not like the best match on the show, but something totally different from everything else. It was bloody. It was violent. There was the brutality from Drilla that we needed here. And we got a little bit of the old Sanada, the good Sanada, in this match before we got House of Torture mess. But whenever House of Torture mess is counteracted by the baby faces kind of diffusing it, I think it's a little bit more acceptable than the House of Torture stuff actually wins out.
Yeah, no, it's definitely more digestible in that way. I'll say this though, man. I never thought I'd see the day where Sanada would wear the crimson mask like his master, Keiji Muto. That to me was different. Not shouts, but like to point out, Bala was talking about it. What happened to Disco Ball Sanada? That man came out first, right? He came out. First of all, I knew something was off, right? Because when they panned the shot to the face, I was like, yo, why does this look like a bit of like the Uncanny Valley shit? Is that really Sanada's face or is that a mask? Or whatever. And I come to find out it's a mask. So I didn't necessarily, no one knows what happened to Disco Ball Sanada. He appeared, he then disappeared, and real Sanada appeared in the crowd with his boombox jacket and things of that nature. So that was fun to see.
I knew from the moment he took off his glasses that was a Sanada.
Okay, fair enough. To me, it was like, it was just that whole Uncanny Valley feel. And I was like, I feel like this is going to be part of Sanada's lore going forward. So this is going to come into play. So we might have an additional member of the House of Torture coming. Or maybe it is one of the other members of the House of Torture. Who knows? So, you know, at this point, so can't wait to see as to how that all unfolds. But it was probably the most violent I've seen Sanada ever get. He was hyper-focused in this match. Something he doesn't necessarily do nowadays with the whole House of Torture stuff. And whatnot. And then Maloney, man, look, man, I got to give Drilla his props here. Drilla gave himself 9 staples in his head just to show people he does this for the people. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, folks. It was, that shit wasn't a guitar shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did it to himself, unfortunately, and it just came off that way. But you know, he man, that was ugly to see at post match. But man, the match did what it was supposed to. And like you said, he got Maloney himself. He got his semblance of revenge there. So we'll see as to how all that breaks down going into the future for both those guys. And yeah, like it just played like an AEW pay-per-view, bro. Like we had the fun matches, we had a good hard hitting a match, be it with the ladies at this point or whatever, and then we had this hardcore match, and I was like, where are we going with this? And when they took the fork out, I was like, oh man, okay, we'll see where it goes. And it went where it went. So props to them for even pulling this off. I would have never really, like I said before, I would have never really thought Sonata would have gone for some sort of a hardcore match. But hey, man, he put on. And Drilla should be in line for something after this win. So we'll see how it all breaks down. But another fun match. You know, they diversified with the kinds of matches that they had on the card. So you know, a good they continued the good streak of matches opening up the show.
Yep, I agree, and yeah, I do also agree that this feels like the type of like win and kind of like blow off to this rivalry, this grudge feud that's been going on between him and Sonata that Drilla needed to kind of be propelled into title contention. Now that's why I do find it kind of strange, because there's like a couple of guys I could make the argument that they would deserve like a never openweight championship matchup at Wrestle Kingdom. But that seemingly is not going to be possible after this show. But we'll get into that shortly here. But next up, like we said, this is the AEW pay-per-view. So you needed basically the Eddie Kingston return. You needed a returning star in a not inconsequential matchup on the card. Yes, you have Hirooki Goto, the greatest IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. E Honda is back from filming Street Fighter, and he is teaming with his Bishamon teammate Yoshihashi, and Yo, his former Chaos teammate and stablemate in Hontai, to face TMDK, Hartley Jackson, Roye Uyawa, and Kosei Fujita. This was a nice little kind of a standard multi-man matchup that we would usually see on a NJPW card. Not only here to, you know, reintroduce Goto into play in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but also with TMDK in this matchup, it gives commentary the opportunity to talk about Zack Sabre Jr. in the main event against Konosuke Takeshita and the connection that Goto has to that matchup. So there was some foreshadowing from the commentary in this matchup. But everybody went out here. They worked hard. You had Goto. He was really the focus of this matchup. Yo got to look good for a bit. Roye Uyawa, Kosei Fujita always looking good in this matchup. But in the end, it was all about Goto as he was left alone with Hartley Jackson. And Hartley was looking up at the lights as we predicted with the GTR. Goto picking up the win for the Chaos Hontai trio here. And of course, it would not be the last time we would see Goto. Pretty much, this all played out as we predicted on the preview, J-News.
Pretty much.
I gave this one 2 3/4 stars.
Yeah, it was all about the return of the revolution at the end of the day. So, you know, I wanted to see and experience whether the fan base was going to continue to be so vehemently behind Goto, and they were. So the revolution is not over, folks. So we're going to be watching it depending as to how they do with the Road 2 shows, because there will be Road 2 shows going forward. And we'll see what the energy and the vibe is as it continues, but it's still pretty high. So I think that's a positive, to be quite honest. And it seems like Goto is fully healed from the elbow injury. So gotta be thankful for that. And yeah, man, it was the return. So it was all in practice. We saw it, we lived it, we felt the energy from the crowd, and it was all good in the hood for me, G. So I you know, it was enjoyable at the end of the day, but it wasn't anything to write home about. But it was all about the return of Hirooki Goto.
So then we get our next title match for the NJPW World Television Championship. El Phantasmo defending against Hirooki Tanahashi. Hirooki Tanahashi is on his final road. Just a few more dates, a few more months left in the illustrious career of the legend, the ace of the universe. And he has stated that he would like to win championship gold before he gets there. And he got the opportunity here against one of his Hontai stablemates in El Phantasmo, a first time ever meeting. I thought these guys worked really well with each other for it being a first time meeting. It is kind of hard, though, at this point to watch Tanahashi in the ring because it feels like every step he takes, it is a struggle. But El Phantasmo was able to kind of keep up the pace, move around him, keep the pace going in the matchup. This was a lengthier matchup for the TV title. It did not end despite El Phantasmo hitting the CR2 and getting a near fall with that. Tanahashi looked like he was on the way to victory with the high fly flow. He wasn't able to claim that. Sling Blade wasn't able to get a victory. In the end, it was ELP who hit the Thunder Kiss 86, but he was not able to recover from his knee being hurt throughout the matchup from Tanahashi working it over to recover and get the pinfall. Instead, he would hit a CR2. He would lock on a Texas Cloverleaf at the end of this one, but it unfortunately would not be enough. Hirooki Tanahashi would not tap out in the end. Thus, ELP retains the NJPW World Television Championship, but the match goes to a 15-minute time limit draw. No winner here. Hirooki Tanahashi and El Phantasmo having a very competitive back and forth matchup here. But in the end, ELP couldn't put the ace of the universe away. He retains the TV title, but Tanahashi showing respect to him. They point to the lion mark as it was 1 year ago that ELP officially joined Hontai, wanting to honor the lion mark, honor the respect and the lineage of New Japan Pro Wrestling and represent it with the home team. So they had a little moment here, and an ELP left the ring to Tanahashi. Okay, so I think this match was good. It was a good match. I give it 3.5 stars, but I don't like the finish. I don't like the finish because of what we're getting next. Next, spoiler alert, we're getting Tanahashi challenging for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. I think that the finish to this matchup, if that was your plan to go to next, is Tanahashi is on the verge of getting a victory and time runs out. I think it makes more sense for Tanahashi to get another title shot at a different title if he is on the verge of winning another one, not on the verge of losing. If ELP gets 10 more seconds, who knows if Tanahashi taps out? Like, I thought that the finish of this matchup felt backwards. So that takes away some of my enjoyment of the matchup a bit. But like I said, I thought it was good. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was solid, man. I think what we discussed on the preview pretty much happened for me. I think that ELP being able to work around Tanahashi's limitations and just, move around him as much as he did and things of that nature, and creating that sense of urgency. And then obviously Tana still being able to do what he does and creating that emotional draw from the crowd and things of that nature. It got to a good point there during the match as well. The seesaw battle is really what I was looking for between the two of them, and they were able to really put that together in this match. I'm with you. Just that last bit, right, where it was like, okay, shouldn't Tana be the one looking strong going into the draw? Outside of, I just thought that decision lacked at the end of the day, and it has not, like, at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with ELP. It's just how they put that finish together. Because I understand ELP being the champion and the champion coming out looking, making sure the champion still looks strong in the draw. But in this case, if the plan was, to your point, SP3, putting Tana versus Tsuji for the Global Heavyweight Championship, it's like, ELP should have just eaten crow for the end of the match. He's not going to lose the title regardless. We're going to end up in a draw. So it's like, have Tana almost winning that championship so it could seem feasible that he can now challenge for the IWGP Global Championship. But if we're going to be real technical and we're gonna draw semantics here about stuff or whatever, it was Tsuji who did challenge Tana at the end of the day. So I think maybe if we're gonna read into the logic of the storytelling here, I think that would that kind of negates that a little bit. But I'm with you in the sense of, to make Tana look stronger or come in stronger into this next championship battle, he should have had the upper hand going, ending towards the draw instead of ELP.
Yeah, because now it just looks like Tsuji challenged a weak challenger.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like. It looks like a lesser champion was about to beat the guy that you just challenged for your next title, for your first title defense of your second rank. So.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because there's the other perspective would be, Tana's been the champion. He's held all these different championships, right, outside of the global heavyweight championship.
Yeah.
But he's been, from a lineage standpoint, he's been intercontinental champion, he's been heavyweight champion, and all this other stuff or whatever. He's given the younger guys the rub on the way out, I guess, if you want to see it that way. Even though these guys are champions, but
yeah, like if this is the case, like just lose that.
Yeah,
just lose that. Like, why do the time limit draw? Just lose. If he's gonna be on top by the end of the time limit, then there's no point to do the time limit draw. The champion should just retain the title.
Yeah, they should just win. Yeah, but I guess the Japanese wrestling is a little different. They do the respect thing. They don't want to bury him on his way out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like draw it, make him feel like he's still competitive in the matches and stuff like that, instead of him looking like he's on his last legs, even though he's been on his last legs for the last 2.5 years. Yeah, so there's that of it. But yeah, man, solid match overall. I feel now, as to going into the future of everything, like who's going to be ELP's next opponent, really, that's another thing that I want to see clarified for New Japan, because I just don't know where they go from here.
That should be interesting. We will have to wait and see. But up next, we would get Evil challenging Boltin Oleg for the Never Openweight Championship. All right, this one was set up, in the G1. Evil defeated Boltin Oleg in not a good matchup. And what do you know it? They had another not a good matchup. This was very kind of slow plotting. Boltin actually brought a little bit of like the speed to this matchup, a little bit of the pacing, running the ropes a bit, keeping it a little bit fast paced with his comeback in the matchup. He would counteract some of the House of Torture interference for a bit in this one. We would get Hontai helping him out, Yano, and with the help of the Young Lions would get rid of Dick Togo at one point of the matchup. But there are just way too many members of the House of Torture. So just when it seems that, you got Boltin, who survives the Darkness Scorpion. He's able to make it to the ropes. He looks like he's on the verge of making another comeback and going to retain the championship. He even hits a smaller kamikaze. He's going for the more standard kamikaze, and out comes Doki. Ref bump. Doki comes in. He goes after the injured knee of the champion, hitting him in the leg with his signature lead pipe. This leads to Evil helping the ref up, hitting Everything is Evil. 1, 2, 3. Evil is your new Never Openweight champion. Oh, dear Lord. New Japan Pro Wrestling never learns their lessons. He is now a 4-time Never Openweight champion. He celebrates post-match by doing what else does the House of Torture do? A post-match beatdown. We get more of the House of Torture members. They come down. They're beating down on Boltin Oleg. We get Young Lions getting into the ring. They're trying to stop this beatdown. They get beaten down as well, until there's one Young Lion who looks a little bigger than the rest. He comes into the ring and he starts bodying House of Torture members. Body slam to Dick Togo. Tosses another House of Torture member. He goes face to face with the new Never Openweight champion. And we have this showdown. The crowd is buzzing at this point as the commentary confirms that this is none other than Olympic gold medalist Aaron Wolf, the man that will make his in-ring debut at Wrestle Kingdom here, showing a little bit of justice to the House of Torture. He stares down with Doki, Evo, and Don Valet and doesn't flinch at all, doesn't budge. He is not moving. And it is made official. Evil makes a challenge to Aaron Wolf to be his opponent at Wrestle Kingdom. And Aaron Wolf is all for it. And it was made official yesterday. It will be Aaron Wolf in his in-ring debut facing the never openweight champion. But more importantly, his trainer, Evil. And this will be a non-title matchup. Aaron Wolf's debut match against the probably, I don't even think it's a probably, the biggest heel in New Japan Pro Wrestling, Evil. J News, what did you think about the matchup? You're higher on the matchup than most of us. I gave this matchup a dud. Did not think it was a good matchup at all. It's
like I said,
not even worth half a star. The post match though, that was enjoyable. I like that. That was a good introduction for Aaron Wolf.
The post match was enjoyable. I to the point I made earlier, I'll make the point again. I felt like when Evil and Oleg were in there with each other, just one on one, it worked for what it was. Evil still doing heel things at the end of the day without the House of Torture, you know, trying to get that sympathy for building that sympathy for Oleg Boltin and things of that nature. Boltin really working the majority of the match, or taking, you know, being more physical and whatnot, and Evil just being overwhelmed by his physicality and stuff like that. So that worked. That's why I liked that part of the match. But when the shenanigans just overtook everything, as per usual, that's where I was like, all right, man, you know, I got to check out of this one at the end of the day. But the post-match stuff, let's talk about the post-match stuff. This Aaron Wolf thing has left a lot of questions in my head, right? I understand. Gold medalist judoka, you know, he's an athlete, everything else in between. He's coming into the pro wrestling space, but learning, because usually I you know, I don't know everything, but learning that Evil was his trainer, to me was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? You know, like, for all intents and purposes, if he comes out to be,
it's cold, man. Evil knows what he's doing. He just does not do it on purpose.
Whatever, man. At the end of the day, my hope is that Aaron Wolf looks good come January 4th. Whatever continued training he does from here on there. Let's hope his timing is good. Obviously his judo throws were excellent at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Let's see as to what sort of worker he turns into. Will he be a submission type guy? Will he be more of a powerhouse type guy, depending on, you know, based on his build and whatnot? So we'll see. But this being the first announced match for Wrestle Kingdom, the official match, right, is it's a big deal. You know, it's a real big deal. So we're gonna get Aaron Wolf here versus Evil. They're probably gonna open the show.
That would make sense. That would make sense. I think this was a genius move. I know there's a lot of like basically Japanese fans that are upset at this because they feel like this is either beneath Evil, or you're not putting the never openweight championship on the line, or this might be too much for Aaron Wolf too early. I think this is the best move to guarantee that Aaron Wolf has a spotlighted matchup on the Wrestle Kingdom card, that he's in there with someone that he's very comfortable with and knows very well. And 100%, this is the biggest reason you know he's going to get cheered.
Right. Absolutely. Because
there's one person in this company you know he will get cheered against, and it's Evil. Unless it's Ache and it's an AEW star.
Right. So, you know, I think they're setting him up for success here, but hopefully the execution for the match ends up being or ends up good at the end of the day. And yeah, man, what can I say? I got no faith in the character of Evil. I got no faith in the wrestler that is Evil. but we'll see.
We'll see how he does as a trainer.
Yeah, we'll see how it all turns out. Honestly, I thought that they were because he's been heading. Well, as a matter of fact, he's actually doing the Japanese Olympic stuff. So Blue Justice couldn't train Iron Wolf, so it wouldn't be Nagata at the end of the day. I would have thought it would have been like Tanahashi or somebody who was helping train Iron Wolf, maybe even Yano, to be quite honest. But I did not figure it would be Evil, and to learn that is just, I don't even know what to say at this point.
Okay, it's all right. All right, then we got our next title match, IWGP Tag Team Championships up for grabs. The Knockout Brothers, Asuka and Yuto Ice, defending against Shota Umino and Yuya Uemura. Can we talk about the Knockout Brothers being the hottest act in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and it's not even close? Like, they have a whole vibe to them. Like, the crowd changes and they react to them like they're already stars. And I have not seen this on this level since probably Hiromu Takahashi. Because even like Jay White, it took a while for him to get settled in the new role after Excursion before he kind of got into his stride. Whereas Hiromu Takahashi kind of got it instantly. That's what the Knockout Brothers have been able to achieve since coming back to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And they added another great match to their resume here. This was really built off of the rivalry between Yuto Ice and Yuya Uemura, coming off the heels of their excellent singles match in Kurgan Hall. We got some more animosity being built between the both men. Both men just seemed obsessed with getting the win for their team over the other. You got Yuya Uemura. He's busting out the high fly flow, getting a near fall on Yuto with that. Yuto is just hitting him with bumbleclot knees and hard-hitting strikes throughout this matchup. He's going after the injured arm that started this rivalry between them all those years back in Kurgan Hall. This one was physical. I thought Oscar looked great in this one as well. His size and his look is so familiar to like very young Mark Calloway. Very young Undertaker. He has that vibe to him. The long hair, very tall. He's athletic as well. Getting that height on that leg drop when Uemura had Yuto Ice in the cross arm breaker. You get at the end, it's just high impact move after high impact move. Everyone's trying to hit their finisher. Yuto Ice busting out his big knockout punch in the end. He caves the jaw of Shota. Then he caves the jaw of Uemura, and then all that is left for them is the KOB, the running kick to the back of the head and tombstone combination. And Yuto Ice gets the cover, gets the win, and gets revenge on Yuya Uemura for breaking his arm in his debut matchup as the Knockout Brothers retain the IWGP Tag Team Championships. And another banger on this show. This one was so much. This was like a never open weight tag team matchup, a never open weight championship matchup on a big show. Your Tomohiro Ishii versus your Toge Macabes. Your Tomohiro Ishii versus Yuya versus Katsuyori Shibata. Your Tomohiro Ishii versus Shingo Takagi. Shingo Takagi versus Hirooki Goto. That was what you got in a tag team form. It's less than 15 minutes. This was so much fun. I gave this match 4.25 stars. This was one of the better matches on the show as well for me. J News?
The last time I got on here and I talked about the Knockout Brothers, I said I wasn't going to talk about the gimmick anymore. The gimmick is lost on me, right? But now, folks in the comments, people around the world who watch True Heel Heat, comment down below. There seems to be something lost in translation when Yuto Ice is talking in Japanese. The coined phrase, let's get high, right? At the end of most of his promos. I've seen it in places where it's actually not let's get high, but it's let's get hyped. So I want to understand where we're going with all this. Like, where is the translatory stuff getting lost here? Like, I want to know what he's actually saying. Does he know what he's saying? Folks, give me that at least so I have some clarification. Secondly, this was a barn burner of a match. I didn't think Yuya Uemura and Shota Umino would have this sort of chemistry together. And for them to pull this off in such a, yes, Val, it matters to me. So for them to have this kind of chemistry in a short period of time is excellent. I feel like they're the stronger team going into tag league after this performance against the tag team champions. So props to Shooter and props to Yuya Uemura. I think their execution of Power and Glory was top notch. I was like, yo, this looks so clean. Like, that should be their finisher. That should be their tag team finisher going forward. So it is what it is. It is what it is. There, sorry, folks. I'm laughing because I'm reading stuff in the comments and stuff like that. So it is what it is on that front. But I thought the match was great, man. And I'll give the boys credit. The Knockout Brothers, man. Look, they are the hottest act going in New Japan right now. And for whatever it is, they deserve it, man, because they've brought this different kind of energy and feel to the shows ever since they re-debuted. So props to them on that. They have been more than solid as a unit. They work well. They work very well together. Where the differentiation is, even though they're both smash mouth wrestlers, there's still a slight differentiation in style when you see it. So props to those guys. This is probably the best I've seen Oscar look in the tag matches. To your point, SP3. And Yuto Ice is just Yuto Ice at the end of the day. So, you got to give it where it's due at the end of the day. So there's that of it. Yeah, man, I feel like this was this overachieved to me as a match.
Yeah,
because I didn't think that Yuya and Umino were gonna not show up, but like, I didn't think the cohesion was gonna.
I didn't think they would be that good as a team, but they were really good. They had the chemistry. They blended their styles really well with each other, and it really feels like the right time for them to be a tag team, because you have like Uemura, who was kind of kept separate from the Raw Three Musketeers and didn't come back from Excursion with everybody else, or around the time everybody else did. So he had a kind of a more of a steady kind of build as soon as he comes into New Japan after that long excursion, and he seems like he's on the trajectory up. Whereas Umino was kind of given a lot of big opportunities coming in after the excursion and kind of failed on a couple of them, to the point that he had to come down from that mountain that he was climbing and has to go back up. But it's kind of where they're both at the same point on the mountain now. And now is the perfect time for them to be a tag team.
Yeah. I was a little bit worried, especially with what you just mentioned, because I mentioned it on our last recording as well, where I thought that Yuya was in a higher slot and position than Umino was, just based on performance and where the fans have him and stuff like that. And then now pairing them in the tag team, I was a little bit worried, but then watching them together, watching them gel so well, and then the chemistry, and then them actually working on tag team maneuvers together, and I was like, you know what, this works. And if this is going to take them to a good and important point in New Japan, by all means, I'm for it, because I just want the younger guys to be important parts of the card and it not feel forced at the end of the day. So with that being said, I'm all for it. Hopefully, they have a strong showing in World Tag League. I'm not too sure who the challengers would be for Yuto Ice and Oscar Loibe. Maybe they won't wrestle until Tag League. At the end of the day,
yeah, I don't think they're gonna defend the titles at Homecoming. They'll probably wait till the end of Tag League.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, then we'll see them next in tag league then.
And it should be mentioned, this is the first time that the IWGP Tag Team Championships have been successfully defended since last October.
Yeah. That's very true. They made that a very important point after after the celebration and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, all right. Now we see that there should be some sort of consistency here with this new tag team of the Knockout Brothers being consistent and staying strong. And that was also a theme throughout the night about how the IWGP and New Japan mean strength and consistency and things of that nature. I heard it a couple of different times throughout the show. The Knockout Brothers here showing their strength and being able to defend their championships and going forward here. And then the tag league's coming, man. So you got to make the champions look strong, especially with how strong you've made them look so far. We'll see how it all goes. But hey, I'm for it, man. I'm for wherever these teams are going to go going forward. And that
best taunt in the game. Best taunt in the game.
That right there, man. Yeah. We'll talk about more of that during the next match.
Let's talk about the next matchup. It's our semi-main event for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. Gabe Kidd defends against Yota Tsuji. This is the third match these men have had against one another in 2025. This is the third match that they've had for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. They stood at 1-0-1 for Gabe Kidd was his record against Yota Tsuji after picking up the win at Dominion and their knockout draw at New Beginning. This third matchup had some high expectations and had some questions going in, as a lot of people, loved their New Beginning matchup. We're a little bit down on the Dominion matchup. There's all the questions about where Gabe Kidd's loyalty, where his future is going to be in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But they put all of that aside and they went out there and they told a beautiful story. Starts out a little bit slow, the filling out process, and then it builds. We get a little bit more physical as both men head to the outside. We get a dive outside. We get some hard-hitting strikes, some chops from Gabe Kidd, and then we kind of got what the story was going to be in this matchup. As early on, you get Kidd, who gives us a throwback to the Dominion matchup, where he puts Yota Tsuji on the top rope, hanging him up there. That was a key point of the Dominion matchup when Kidd did that to Tsuji and then delivered basically a top rope double stomp to his back, but hit the back of his head in the process, which knocked him loopy for the rest of that matchup. Instead of taking that risk, Kidd basically played into it, got the reaction, and then instead slaps his back. He bounces off the ropes and delivers a sit-out powerbomb for a 2 count. Kidd giving us a throwback to their days as young lions, putting Yota Tsuji in the Boston Crab, trying to make him tap out, but Tsuji is forced to get to the ropes. Then we got the war of attrition of this matchup, and we just get them just brutalizing each other, colliding with one another, hard-hitting lariats and strikes. You got one big lariat by Tsuji that turns Gabe Kidd inside out. Kidd comes back with another one when Tsuji goes for the Gene Blaster at another point of the matchup. We get some hard-hitting headbutts. At one point, you get Kidd who's just delivering headbutt after headbutt to Yota Tsuji. Tsuji responds with one massive headbutt to the jaw. Both men are knocked down, so we get a callback to their New Beginning matchup where the referee is counting them out. Commentary talks about it, not wanting it to go down this way again. And Gabe Kidd gives us probably the best moment of the whole entire matchup where he says, "No! No, da, da, da." He screams in Japanese at the referee and he points to the lion mark at Yota Tsuji and he says, "Get up and fight me." I want the lion mark as they just start hitting each other with hard-hitting forearm after forearm, overhead chop after overhead chop. We get some great sequences down the stretch where at one point Tsuji is going, hits the Guerrero special. He's going for the Gene Blaster. Kid reverses the Gene Blaster into the drill-a-hole power driver. He picks him up, hits a second drill-a-hole power driver. Somehow, some way, Tsuji kicks out. Tsuji hits the Gene Blaster on Kid. Kid, somehow, some way, he's able to kick out. Tsuji hits a second Gene Blaster on Kid. He locks on the Boston Crab. Kid gives us his Stone Cold Steve Austin moment, putting his fists down on the lion mark, pulling his body up off of the mat. He's trying to make it to the ropes, and Tsuji pulls it back, puts him in a lion tamer, basically trying to break his back, forcing Gabe Kid to tap out. What a match. My God. These two men went out there and put on a splendid performance, a fantastic encounter here. This was closer to New Beginning than it was to Dominion. I gave the New Beginning match 5 stars. This is as close as it gets. I give this one 4 3/4 stars. Fantastic match by both men. Terrific performance by Gabe Kid. Excellent performance by Yota Tsuji, proving himself of why I've been saying for months. This is the guy. This is the guy who you need to put as the champion. That was a part of the story as well, with both men saying they want to win the Global Heavyweight Championship as their chip to get the main event at the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom. So we'll see what happens next. But what would happen next is very intriguing. As following the matchup, you get the Bullet Club War Dogs come down to the ring. They stare down with Gabe Kid. A lot of us, including myself, believe that maybe we would get the Bullet Club War Dogs turning on Kid after he just shook hands. He shook hands and bowed to Yota Tsuji. They showed respect to one another in a major way. And if you remember at Destruction, Finlay walked away from Tsuji, offering him a handshake. But here he looks at Gabe Kid. He then looks at the unaffiliated sign as the rest of unaffiliated come down to back up Tsuji just in case this is a beatdown. And all of a sudden, we just get everyone shaking hands, starting with David Finlay and Yota Tsuji. We get David Finlay and Shingo Takagi. We even get Hiromu Takahashi and Taiji Ishimori. Everyone shaking hands, commentary, and everyone is baffled by this ramifications and wondering what this would mean for the future. And we got an indication of that as the Super Junior Tag League. We got War Dogs unaffiliated, apparently, in 2 teams, as Clark Connors will team with Dake Nagai of unaffiliated, and unaffiliated is Hiromu Takahashi will team with Gato. Like I said, the match absolutely spectacular by both men. Really gave us a story. Love the callbacks, love the storytelling. The storytelling was so captivating, and the crowd's atmosphere just really elevated things in this one. Like, if you wanted to go 5 stars with this one, I wouldn't blame you. I'm going 4 3/4. This is one of the best New Japan matches of the year for me. J News, what did you think?
So let me talk about the match first. The match itself was fantastic. It was amazing. Whatever adjectives and superlatives you want to throw in there for this match, it deserves it. They got back to where they needed to get back to from New Beginning. Dominion was obviously a level down. They leveled back up here between Tsuji and Gabe Kid. Shouts to Tsuji for using the Boston Crab for the win. The callback to their days as young lions. Obviously, meaningful, especially on the lion mark. Yet again, another meaningful and poignant thing to put in that match. I want to say to all the Gabe Kid haters out there who continue to down him and continue to doubt him and continue to talk bad on his name, I am now easily convinced that y'all don't know ball. Easily convinced y'all don't know ball. Y'all just don't. You can shit on the kid's character all you want or whatever, his wrestling character, but the wrestling ability, man, miss me with the bullshit. Just miss me. You know what I'm saying? On the Big Tsuji. We've been on this Big Tsuji train since he came back from excursion. right? You more than most, as a matter of fact, SP3. You wanted him to come back from excursion and win the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship off the bat. Me, I was a little bit more tempered. Give him a little build. Let's see how it goes and go from there. Now we are seeing the full front and brunt of what it is that who is Yota Tsuji as the star of the younger generation of wrestlers for New Japan, for New Japan Pro Wrestling. I say to Greg Carter's point, yes, NJPW Gabe is better than AEW Gabe. I get that. Yes, you're right. But at the end of the day, not enough exposure over there. It's only been like half-assed kind of attempts and all that jazz. So it is what it is. But with Tsuji, man, I'll say it, and I think you probably think think or feel the same way, SP3. Like, if it's not Tsuji versus Takeshita at Wrestle Kingdom, I don't know what else it could be, per se. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing else really makes sense.
Yeah. If it's not Tsuji versus Takeshita, man, I'm not sure how you're gonna sell that. You know what I'm saying? Should that be Tsuji's coronation though? Is the question, right? Just because it took Takeshita long enough to get to where he's at, and for him to have a short reign, it's like, how do we? And like the points are there, right? Like, New Japan always wants their talent to have their championships, yada yada yada. Being that Takeshita's not from their dojo system and things of that nature, and Tsuji is, and the traditionalist mindset of what it is to be just Japanese in general, but just here with New Japan and whatnot. But for me, if it's not Tsuji versus Takeshita at Wrestle Kingdom, I don't know what else it should be in that main event. The point you made earlier about using that Global Heavyweight Championship as the chip to get to Wrestle Kingdom, I think will be used in this sense. Not for nothing, I think Tsuji should get the win over Tanahashi in their match. Because that's the ultimate rub right there, right? If Tanahashi wants to go out on the high, that's the ultimate rub, right? That kid getting the win over Tana. And then for the sake of Tsuji, for the sake of Tsuji going through with what he put out there many months ago about the lineage of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and then getting the Intercontinental Championship back, and then separating the two. Like, I think that's something you might have to tap into if you're New Japan and whatnot, because a lot of people have been clamoring for at least the return of the Intercontinental Championship. Obviously, you already have a white strap belt with the Global Championship, but it's one of those situations where for me the writing's on the wall. I want to mention this though. You made a point of it, and I agreed with you. When the match was over and the War Dogs were coming down to the ring, and David Finlay was the first one to get in the ring, and he got in he didn't get in Gabe's face, but he confronted Gabe. I thought, wait a minute, time out. What's happening here? Like, are they really gonna jump Gabe out? On some gang shit, they gonna jump Gabe out? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but it didn't have. Like, I felt like when Tsuji made his way towards the War Dogs, like, I felt like Tsuji intervened in what was about to happen. That was my takeaway. I could be completely wrong, but I just feel like, he has so much love and respect for Gabe. Like, he didn't want anything to happen to Gabe. So it's like, okay, let's, and for now, because David Finlay said it in his post-match comments, he's always trying to be one or 10 steps ahead or whatever the case is, and you don't know what he's going to do next. So, like, I feel like for now, he's okay with the truce, but it'll be something going into the future, and things of that nature. So there's that. Of it all, I feel like Tsuji might have gotten in the way of a beatdown, which is fine. Which is fine.
I don't think so. Or not yet. Not yet.
Okay, fair enough. Right, but at the end of the day, I feel like with Gabe losing here, where does Gabe go from here? Also, where does Finley go from here? Right? Because it's like he's not going to be paired up with Tsuji either. So it's like, where do they go from here? Do they go into tag league? Do Gabe and Finley go into tag league together?
Maybe they go in together and then don't win, and that
you,
leads to dissension.
Yeah, that could be a thing.
Who's the real leader of the War Dogs?
I mean, Gabe's never fought for the position, right? So it's one of those things where Gabe's always felt he's always fallen in line. But in this case, if let's say they lose and it's Gabe's fault, right? It's just another chink in the armor, right? So, and then I guess they can have
choose. He's forced to choose between the War Dogs and the Death Riders,
something like that, or being unaffiliated, for God's sakes. Imagine, because Tsuji's on that side.
Hey, unaffiliated Gabe, right? I see you, Gabe. For your Sonata shit.
So it could be something like that, and then it'll give us it can give the fans the opportunity to watch a match between Gabe and Finley, right? The winner of the match, maybe it can be a loser leaves War Dogs type thing. I don't know.
That could be Gabe's way out.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna tell you, I don't think Gabe is gonna be in this company this time next year.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to disagree with you. We'll see how it all pans out. I've been saying that for years about Finley, and it's like, bro, when's your opportunity coming, brother? Like, what the fuck's going on?
Maybe this is the opportunity. Maybe this is the opportunity. Him to be the guy that's still here, holding it down, the top gaijin finally in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
But they got to give him the belt at some point, don't they?
Yeah, they definitely have to give him the belt. That's the apex. That's climbing the mountain. But you saw what Zack had to go through to finally get his time.
That's a good point.
We got in the chat here, King of the North, who says, here to push my Takeshita versus Tsuji title agenda. You don't need to push it here. We've been on this probably before you.
We with you, man. That's what we want. You know what I'm saying?
He says Takeshita versus Tsuji at the Dome for both titles. Tsuji wins and brings back V4 and the IC belts. Yeah, he has talked about that in the past, so we shall see if that is the direction that New Japan is going in. But what do you think about New Japan? This has been the thing that has kind of defined New Japan's 2025 in a way, is their basically disbanding and merging of groups. And now we got our latest one here with the unaffiliated and War Dogs coming to some type of agreement, I guess.
Yeah, and you can call it an agreement. I would say, because I've been saying this for a couple of years, I grew tired of the faction stuff a while ago, right? I just never necessarily saw how can I put this? After Kenny became leader of the Bullet Club, I was like, all right, enough with the fucking faction shit. Enough. Because it was just like, it was a lot of the same stuff, and then different members for the Bullet Club and all this other shit. And it's like, we don't need that. You know what I'm saying? To quote a phrase. So I'm okay with no faction having or unification of stuff and consolidation of stuff. I'm okay with that. Because at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, there's no real strong feuds like that being built anymore. If I may be so bold to say. So there's that of it. I like the Tsuji storyline, him bringing back, V4 and the Intercontinental Championship. I was talking about that earlier. But yet again, the other point that I made, do you only give Takeshita 3 months with the championship? With as long as it took him to get to where he's at, and him really being one of the best wrestlers on the planet. You know what I'm saying? Do you want to take it away from him that soon? So good point, Vala. When Suzuki Gun disbanded, that's another point. It was just too much for me with the faction stuff. But the Tsuji storyline is a strong one. I'm okay either way. I just feel like it would be too soon for Soups to lose the belt. but I'm not going to be heavily disappointed if Tsuji wins it. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with it. Nah, it's not perfectly fine, to be quite honest, man. Freaking Takeshita deserves the world man, with what he does.
No, this. I kind of understand where
I get it, but
this is a run to solidify him as a top star in New Japan Pro Wrestling. The run to solidify does not need to be lengthy. We've seen it be done in the past with AJ Styles, his first run as IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Tetsuya Naito's first run as IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Jay White's first run as IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Will Ospreay's first one. Like, the list goes. There's a lot of guys who get the initial run is never the longest. It's never the one that lasts a long time. It's one to solidify that you're a top star in New Japan. And it doesn't matter if it's a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. Does not matter. It just matters. That is the point. It's about winning the title, defending the title successfully at least once. Yeah. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's fair. And oh man, it's confusing just because of where New Japan was at the beginning of the year, right? The Goto Revolution shit, now it's gonna be Goto versus Takeshita at Junior Tag League Finals and stuff like that. And it's like that's gonna have that crowd buzzing at the end of the day, right? And
that should be just as great as the match we're about to talk about here. But yes, we got King of the North, who says the IWGP world title lineage is ending in my scenario anyways. He says didn't Omega belt a win only last 4 months? No, 6 months. Because he wins it in June.
Yeah, that's right.
He wins it in June. He loses it in January. So he got a good run because his chase was like 2 years. That's the reason. That's the reason why he got that run. But let's talk about the main event. For the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Zack Sabre Jr. defends against the G1 Climax winner, Konosuke Takeshita. Early on, we get like a feeling out process. Commentary really tries to drive home the point of they believe that Ryogoku will be heavily in the favor of the champion due to Takeshita's status as a contracted talent with AEW. We get the filling out process get revs up a little bit, where we get like fast sequences every now and then. The majority of this matchup took place in the ring. There wasn't a lot of action going on outside of the ring, especially like early on. We got the styles clash that we got in the first matchup. These two men have gone where Zack was more technical based, going after a limb. He worked over the arm. Like, it was one of the best dissections that I've seen of a limb in a main event matchup probably ever was Zack's work on the forearm. He just went after it, different to submissions, wore it down. I don't know how many times he bent the arm and stomped down on the elbow to the point that Takeshita basically was immobile with that arm at certain points of this matchup. Meanwhile, you got Takeshita, who's hitting all the big moves. He's hitting the Blue Thunder Bomb, getting a near fall. He's hitting all these forearm strikes where he looks like he's taking the head off of Zack. Zack is coming back with European uppercuts that the strike, the sound of him hitting the flesh of Takeshita echoing across the arena. Takeshita using his speed and his agility to keep Zack on the back foot, bringing the fight to the outside for a bit here before getting back inside. We got a little bit of kind of like the hard hitting, high impact moves that we got from the second matchup as well in this one. But really, it was Zack. Like the octopus-like way he was just tying Takeshita up. And this point, when he's putting him in the Clarky Cat combination, grabbing onto the legs, you hear the desperation of the crowd and the crowd rallying behind Takeshita, totally flipping it on the head of what the announcers said the crowd reaction would be. They were living and dying on what Takeshita was doing in this one, and they wanted him to overcome this arm injury and somehow, some way pick up the win, and they could see a title change. But Zack was persistent. We get a tornado DDT into a Zack driver, multiple Zack drivers throughout this matchup. One, he gets the bastard driver does Takeshita on Zack. He follows up with the wheelbarrow deadlift German suplex. Zack basically fires up, shows his fighting spirit, and hits him with the Zack driver out of nowhere. Great sequence there. They start battling with hard-hitting forearms and chops and strikes and European uppercuts. This one was just brutal. The sounds were echoing across the arena. The desperation, the emotion, the drama in this one. And then the atmosphere just added that little bit more that you needed to make this feel like an epic IWGP World Heavyweight Championship matchup. Takeshita couldn't get the job done. He would hit the raging fire out of nowhere, but somehow, some way, Zack is able to escape and not the match doesn't end there. Zack would hit like a third or fourth Zack driver, but Takeshita would kick out of that. Takeshita, it took every hard-hitting strike he had in his repertoire. We get the power drive knee, then he exposes the knee, hits one last power drive knee, falls on top of Zack. 1, 2, 3. The sound of elation from the Ryogoku crowd as we have a new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Konosuke Takeshita, the Alpha, has reached the mountaintop and has made history, winning the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. He thanks Zack for a great effort and says that he'll be ready for their next fight against one another. He then calls out the New Japan fans and the New Japan locker room, saying that he heard some boos tonight and they can boo, they can cheer, it doesn't matter. What he really wants to know is if the locker room has a problem with him and if someone wants to step up and take what he just won, what he just did to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And out comes the Goto Revolution. Hirooki Goto steps up. He challenges Takeshita for the first opportunity at Takeshita. Takeshita brings up their past with one another, with Goto defeating him in the G1 last year, and he accepts the challenge. It's going to be Takeshita versus Hirooki Goto at Hiroshi Tanahashi's final homecoming in November. But man, oh man, that is a way to solidify yourself as an absolute megastar and as an absolute Wrestler of the Year candidate. G1 Climax winner, IWGP World Heavyweight Championship win, in a bona fide Match of the Year candidate. But like I said, Takeshita will defend the title for the first time at Final Homecoming, November 2nd, against Hirooki Goto. But man, this matchup, J-News, this fucking matchup, it's one of the best of the whole entire year. I think I only have like 6, 7 matches I gave 5+ stars to. This is one of them. 5+ stars. This was absolutely exceptional work. It's like Takeshita selling in this matchup is probably the best that I've seen of his career. Like the way he would grab onto the arm, and every forearm he would throw, he would sell it. That one moment where he's just getting Zack's just basically taunting him. Zack's in full control. It comes after the Zack driver kick out, and he's just taunting him, pushing him in the face, and Takeshita's just getting more angry. It's like Murder of Bushi in a way, where he's just getting angry, and he's not even looking at Zack. He's just getting pushed, and he takes off his arm pad, drops it, and says, make sure the arm's good, and then throws the straight murder forearm. Oh my God, that's my favorite part of the matchup. Favorite part of the fucking matchup. I love this match. This might be a top 5 matchup of the whole entire year in pro wrestling. That's how good this was. Takeshita and Zack, thank you for giving us an instant classic. J-News.
I will say, before I go into any more Takeshita, stuff. Shouts to the one and only Zack Sabre Jr. He had to pick up the ball when Goto got hurt, and he had to go on this second run here. Zack Sabre Jr. has not let New Japan down at all whatsoever. And for him to get into this match with Takeshita, knowing what the outcome was going to be and still delivering the goods is always top class and super professional at the end of the day. And then that's all I ever hear about Zack Sabre Jr. That man deserves all the accolades and applause and love that he gets from the pro wrestling space and its fans. So I just wanted to give Zack Sabre Jr. his flowers. Takeshita, man, the crowning achievement of his career was this moment. As a young man, as a young lad, he wrote a letter to New Japan Pro Wrestling and its dojo, wanting to be a member of the dojo and wanting to eventually be a New Japan pro wrestler. He was rejected. He was not let in. Wrestling has been his entire life at the end of the day. Wrote his thesis paper in university about the German suplex and everything else in between. Made his path, carved his path out through DDT. Obviously went over to AEW. Now he's over here with 3 different contracts, AEW, DDT, and New Japan. And now he is the New Japan. Now he is the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. And beating Zack Sabre Jr. in the way that he did. Like you were saying, SP3, about his selling. When SP3 was just working over his arm, and the forearm shots just weren't working, right? Because the arm was too weak, and Zack was just eating it up. And I was like, nah, man, you still got some bows to throw. Suck it up and get it in there. And he got it in there, man. That to me, man, like you said, his selling was impeccable. His timing, his pacing, his footwork, just to get out of the way of certain things. It's like, yo, this dude, like, it's like he knows what's gonna happen before it happens. And obviously, a lot of the time when you're in the ring, you're doing a lot of stuff on the fly, unless you're rehearsing a match beforehand. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he's got it down. This man's got it down, man. And it's going to be incredible to see what the rest of his year is going to look like. If he's going to have any other defenses outside of Goto and stuff like that. And yeah, man, this was truly what a crowning achievement. They brought the G1 trophy into the ring when he won the championship. They put the championship around his waist and everything. He had some things to say to the New Japan crowd on the microphone. And it's interesting, right? Because, well, I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but like his cadence when talking to the crowd, right? I was like, oh, this motherfucker's cutting a promo. Like he went to school here. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't just one of those off the cuff. Well, it was off the cuff, but like most of the time when guys end the night, right? You can feel like it's from the heart and stuff like that and all that. What we saw from Takeshita was really something that seemed very premeditated, very calculated, everything that he was saying. So in control he was when he was just talking to the fans and the New Japan crowd and everything. And I was like, man, he'd been to that Don Cata school a promo, brother. Like, be it in Japanese or not, he was killing it on that post-match promo, man. And I gotta give Takeshita all the credit in the world for what he has been able to achieve, especially in this day and age, and especially with how New Japan has worked historically. So props to them. Props to the relationships that New Japan continues to cultivate with all the other different wrestling companies that they have as well. But yeah, man, I wanted to see Takeshita win some sort of a world title sometime soon, and hey, he's here now. He's been crowned. He's at the top of the card, and he deserves to be. And this match was fantastic. It was amazing, man. But when the end came and he won with the power knee, I was like, oh, okay. So they're not gonna go for the whatever his actual finisher is called. I forget right now.
Raging Fire.
Yeah, the freaking the 180 freaking Falcon Arrow at the end of the day. So it is what it is there. But him winning with that power knee, because he kept on doing all that damage to that neck area and that clavicle area, and once he hit it, it was a wrap.
And he couldn't use the top half of his bike. Could he use his arm? So
he had to use with the legs are strong too. So he had to use that. And the way Zack folded, I was like, okay, it's over.
Oh, the way Zack folded on the Poison Rana was ridiculous. That cell where he looks like he's like Linguini. His body is going like two different ways. That shit was crazy.
Yeah, man. So props to those two guys, man. What a main event. Definitely, like you said, SP3 at the beginning of the stream, like this is New Japan getting back to it. You know what I'm saying? This is them getting back to form, and these two gentlemen proved out, and we're in good hands for the future of New Japan. So, and the present of what it is. I've been said that it's just all about the booking and how they get it and how they evolve it. So we don't have to outside of the House of Torture stuff and like maybe newer guys and stuff. We never have to worry about the quality of the wrestling. You know what I'm saying? So and that's what they're built on. So that's all I gotta say about that.
We made it to the end of this review, so let us know your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP, moment of the night, whether you give the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did you give this show? For me, NJ News, for NJPW, King of Pro Wrestling 2025, in 3, 2, 1. Big thumbs up across the board from both of us. Out of 10, what do you give the show, J News?
Solid 9. A solid 9. Reason being that the fervor, the intensity, and the pace was kept up by all the talents on the show. And that's why I want to see Ryogoku was hot. They were buzzing. Shouts to the crowd over in Ryogoku. And man, even though we predicted the majority of the show, even though you can predict the majority of the show, you still want to see how it unfolds. And the way that it unfolded was great. Was great by majority. So I gave it a 9. At the end of the day, the way the show started and the way the show ended, give me that every freaking time out, man.
Please. This is very rare thing what we got here in this show. Yeah, I gotta go 9 out of 10. Even with a dud on this card in Evil and Bolton Oleg, it doesn't weigh down this card at all. It actually further makes the claim that we made earlier that this is an AEW card, because every AEW card has a dud on it too. So like you get the whole smorgasbord. You get the all-timer main event that you're gonna remember for years to come. You get a semi-main event that's just as good. You get an opener that's an absolute banger, a tag team title match that's an absolute banger, and then you got a couple of good matches in between there. Like, that's a 9 out of 10 show for New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is different than any other New Japan show that we've seen this year. So
for sure,
gotta give them love for that.
Yeah,
what was your match of the night, J News?
Main event. Without
main
question.
event easily. Takeshita and ZSJ easily. MVP, J News.
Big Soups, man. Takeshita, man. At the end, just to see him get that moment for me was like, yeah, man, well deserved, well freaking deserved.
I'm gonna go with Takeshita, Syuri, and Sareee. I think that the ladies really, ladies had a performance that was like, y'all better put more ladies matches on these damn shows. So I got to give them MVP. LVP for the show, J News.
Bolton Oleg.
Evil for me. Evil. So one or the other. It is that. And moment of the night, Takeshita wins the title.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Runner up, the truce between the unaffiliated.
Yeah. If Zack retains in the main event, that's the big talking point for this show is unaffiliated and War Dogs for sure. But we've made it to the end of another review. We got Super Junior Tag League up next. That is starting next week, so it won't be very long before you see us back again on your screens. But it won't be very long because Friday, J News will be back. So let everybody know when they're going to see you again and let them know where they can follow you.
Yeah, man. Y'all can follow me on the Twitter machine at JohnLYFNMG. You can follow me on Instagram at _JONJY. I'll be back on Friday to talk the AEW graps, as I love to do every month when there's a pay-per-view and stuff like that. So I'll be back on Friday. It'll be me, SP3, and Maggie, and chaos will ensue. So please join us on Friday for the preview of Wrestle Dream. And then me and SP3 should be back next week to discuss and preview Junior Tag League and break down the brackets and things of that nature. Join me on my YouTube channel and or Dolores' YouTube channel as we do our Hit the Ropes podcast every Sunday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's on. So yeah, that's that part of it. And yeah, appreciate everybody for the cooperation and the continued discussion in the chat. Until next time, folks.
You know the deal. You'll follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at TrueHillHeat. Patreon.com/TrueHillHeat. $3 a month. Gets you exclusive content. The best place to support us when we're not live here. And check out all the great content we got on the channel right now. Like we had our WWE Crown Jewel 2025 review. We had True Hill Heat 350 from this past Sunday. Go and check that out with me, Miss Chrissy Love, and Top Guy JJ. Check out our TNA Bound for Glory 2025 review. And check out Rated Raw review number 89, A New Vision, talking all about Braun Breaker turning on Seth Rollins and the big Seth Rollins injury. I will be back with you tomorrow, 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time, with Jimmy Macaram for AE Ramble, reviewing tonight's 3-hour edition of AEW Dynamite. So join us for that. For J News, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been our NJPW King of Pro Wrestling 2025 review. We are signing off until next time.